Hi everybody, and welcome back to part 4 of my commentary on Triumph of the Will. I hope you've checked out parts 1 through 3, and I will leave links up in the corner for you to go and check those out if you're just finding this video for the first time. If you enjoy this series and if you enjoy my other videos, please consider hitting like, subscribing to the channel, leave a comment down below, and share with one other friend. Today's episode is going to encompass the speech from Konstantin Hurl, who was the head of the Reich's Arbeitsdienst, or Reich's Labor Service, who's going to put on a demonstration and presentation of the working men of Nazi Germany. We're then going to follow that up with what is called the Night Parade and the speech to the SA. So I hope you enjoy it. Let's check it out.
Das deutsche Volk ist heute geistig und seelisch reif für die Einführung der allgemeinen gleichen Arbeitsdienstpflicht.
The general requirement to work is actually a really important feature of Nazi ideology because it demonstrates the perceived relationship between the individual and society, and the emphasis on the fact that the individual must earn their place within the nation state. Nazism was heavily concerned with what we call the freeloader effect, where individuals were gaining benefits from society and participating in society without necessarily ponying up anything in return or in exchange.
Wir harren des Befehls des Führers.
When we transition to the meeting of the workers, it starts off with this really powerful image of the flag of the Reich's Arbeitsdienst. It really does carry with it a feeling of a military standard and a unit insignia within a military unit. However, if you look carefully at it, what you'll notice is it is made up of a spade and wheat, representing that these are not fighting soldiers. However, this is a militarized workforce creating farmland to feed Germans and to facilitate the industry made possible by the Third Reich.
Mein Führer, ich melde 52.000 Arbeitsmänner zum Appell angetreten. Heil, Arbeitsmänner! Heil, mein Führer! Warten! Immer!
The 2 points here which are most prescient are, of course, that these workmen, these ditch diggers, these plowmen have been militarized. They're standing in military formation. We'll see here in a minute that they're all wearing a uniform. They're manipulating their shovels as though they are rifles in a drill formation. They're barking back in unison. And all of them are proud and brave and strong and equal and should be looked up to. It doesn't matter that these men do not have glamorous jobs. This is the socialism part of National Socialism or Nazism, which is that all work that directly benefits the nation should be supported and upheld. Now, it shouldn't necessarily be equally rewarded in the way that a communist would say, but definitely when your work benefits the good of the nation state, it is something to be celebrated and uplifted. That's the socialism part of National Socialism. And this is then related to the second point, which is all of this has been possible because of the unifying effect of Hitler as the leader, as the Führer, which again takes us back to this thing what we call the Führer principle. If only we give power and authority and trust to Hitler, he will subsume within himself all power and control to make things perfect for Germany and for all Germans.
Warten!
Deutschland in die Hölle treibt. Kamerad, woher stammst du?
Aus Friesenland,
Und du, Kamerad?
aus Bayern,
Und du?
vom Kaiserstuhl,
Und du?
aus Pommern und aus Königsberg, aus Schlesien, von Devoterkant, vom Schwarzwald, aus Dresden, von der Donau, vom Rhein und von der Saar.
So again, with the list of places where these people come from, what we're seeing is this unifying concept of the Führerprinzip. People from all different kinds of German states from all over the entire country have been unified and forged together into this now unified nation state of Germany, which gives them pride and strength and the ability to accomplish what the Nazis would call greatness, because through this ideology of National Socialism, we have taken diverse and disparate different German cultures and now finally organized and unified them together behind a supreme leader that can produce the 1,000-year-long German empire that Hitler was predicting.
Ein Volk, ein Führer, ein Reich, ein Land.
And there it is, the culmination of all of these different ideas and motifs into one simple, easy to remember statement. One people, one leader, one empire, one Germany. This is the essence of Nazism and its appeal to the German people who, since the Treaty of Versailles, have been told that Germans are bad, everything they do is wrong, and they have been punished by that Treaty of Versailles.
Heute gemeinsam am Werk.
Im Hof und wir im Bruch. Im Bruch. Und wir im Sand. Im Sand. Wir deichen die Nordsee. Los, lange Hand. Wir pflanzen Bäume. Rauschende Felder. Wir bauen Straßen. Von Dorf zu Dorf. Von Stadt zu Stadt. Wir schaffen dem Bauern neuen Acker. Felder und Felder. Acker und Brot. Für Deutschland.
So men from various industries from all over Germany have now been unified together, and they're going to accomplish Hitler's promise, which is bread and land for Germans. Now, just to demonstrate that everybody is together and unified, they're going to do something which would otherwise be extremely awkward, but thank goodness they've been practicing in their off time. So what are we going to do? How are we going to show this now unified national identity through work? We're going to sing a little song.
Wir standen nicht im Schützengraben und nicht im Trommelfeuer der Granaten und sind trotzdem Soldaten.
Mit unseren Hämmern,
Äxten,
Hobeln, Hacken, Spaten.
wir sind des Reiches junge Mannschaft.
Wie einst bei Langemark.
Here again, we see a little bit of that flavor of the unification of all Germans, regardless of what they're doing for the state. Provided you are working for the German state, you are a good and important and valuable member of society. They're also reaching back and establishing connections to World War I when he says, even though we're not fighting men, we stood at Langemark. The Battle of Langemark happened in Western Belgium in 1917 during World War I. It was an attack by the French and British against the Germans, which then the German counterattack reclaimed most of the territory that was lost.
Bei Tannenberg.
The Battle of Tannenberg in August of 1914 was a major victory for the German and Central Powers forces because the Russian army had been mobilized far faster than anyone had predicted, and the real strategy of the German side in World War I was to quickly knock France out of the war so that they could turn all of their attention to what they perceived to be the much larger and more dangerous Russian Imperial Army. However, the German army failed to knock France out of the war early, and the Russians mobilized far quicker than anyone could have predicted. And so when they won the monumental Battle of Tannenberg under General Paul von Hindenburg, it was a huge victory for the German and Central Powers cause. The Battle of Liège in 1914 was the opening invasion of the German army, making its way through Belgium to try to surround the French army and to end the war quickly as part of the von Schlieffen plan. The Battle of Verdun took place from February to December of 1916. It is the longest battle of the First World War and also one of its bloodiest. An estimated 350,000 German casualties took place in this battle, as well as another 400,000 French casualties. This battle ultimately is used as an example of the futility of World War I on the Western Front, because after almost 1 million people died, the battle ended up almost exactly where it started, in the city of Verdun. The Battle of the Somme from July through November of 1916 is one of the bloodiest battles in all of human history. It was an attempt by the British and the French armies in the field to break through the trench lines and to quickly establish an Allied victory in World War I. 1.5 million British, 1.4 million French, and 1.5 million German soldiers participated in this battle, making it one of history's largest. By November, 420,000 British soldiers, 200,000 French soldiers, and between 500,000 and 700,000 German soldiers had become casualties in yet another battle that was not able to decisively establish anything. One very famous veteran of the Battle of the Somme was J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
An der Düne, in Flandern, im Westen, im Osten, im Süd, zu Lande, zu Wasser und in den Wolken. Kameraden, die Rotfront und Reaktion erschossen! Ihr seid nicht tot! Ihr lebt in Deutschland!
So after summoning up the image of all of these World War I battles, which all of these people would have been familiar with, and had wreaked such havoc on Germany, they're now drawing the connection to say, we are now the embodiment of those German forces from World War I. We're just fighting the battle a little differently. We're fighting the battle to feed Germany, to allow Germany to become prosperous so that Germany can take its rightful place as the dominant country on earth.
Meine Arbeitsdienstmänner, zum ersten Mal seid ihr in dieser Form zum Appell vor mir und damit vor dem ganzen deutschen Volke angetreten. Ihr repräsentiert eine große Idee. Und wir wissen, dass für Millionen unserer Volksgenossen die Arbeit nicht mehr ein trennender Begriff sein wird, sondern ein alle gemeinsam verbindender. Und dass insbesondere keiner mehr dann in Deutschland leben wird, der in der Arbeit der Faust Minderes sehen wird als in irgendeiner anderen Arbeit. Durch eure Schule wird die ganze Nation gehen. Die Zeit wird kommen, da kein Deutscher hineinwachsen kann in die Gemeinschaft dieses Volkes, der nicht erst durch eure Gemeinschaft gegangen ist. Und ihr werdet wissen, in diesem Augenblick sehen euch nicht die Augen der Hunderttausende in Nürnberg, sondern in dem Augenblick sieht euch zum ersten Mal Deutschland. Und ich weiß, so wie ihr in stolzer Ergebenheit diesem Deutschland Dienst tut, wird heute Deutschland
not hard to imagine why Hitler has such support and draws such power from the people. Look at what he's telling them. These regular workmen, these people who in all other times and in most other places would have been told just go to work and keep your mouth shut and do what you're supposed to do because you're not terribly important. Hitler tells them that they are the example for the nation, that they are the roadmap for how Germany will move forward to reach its greatness. This is an enormously powerful message, and it really gives him an enormous amount of influence over the minds of the people. Now, because of course it's still Nazi propaganda, we can't get by without at least one parade, so here it comes. We then move into yet another parade, which is referred to as the Night Parade, leading us into the first meeting of the SA following the Night of Long Knives, where many members and leadership positions, especially within the Sturmabteilung, have been purged. The SA's new leader now is going to devote his loyalty directly to Hitler and ultimately proclaim that the SA is an organization and institution directly devoted to and loyal to Hitler.
Kameraden, sehr viele von euch, die heute Abend hier stehen, kennen mich noch, als ich als SA-Mann in den ersten Jahren der Bewegung mit in Reih und Glied marschiert bin. Und genauso wie ich damals SA-Mann war, bin ich heute noch SA-Mann. Haben immer nur eins gekannt: Treue zum Führer und Kampf für den Führer.
Now that the new leader of the SA has proclaimed not only his own personal, but also the organization's loyalty to the Führer, there's only one thing left to do, and of course, that is a parade out, followed by fireworks. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed part 4 of my commentary on Triumph of the Will. If you did, please consider hitting the thumbs up button, subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment, and sharing the video with at least one friend. I hope to see you back in part 5, where we will dive into the meeting of the Hitler Youth.